at the end of the day, yes, I prompt, but at the end of the day, everything flows through my knowledge of me putting information in and getting that out. I shared this once before, but this has evolved. And so I just quickly want to talk about our partnership with OpenAI. We do have many other models available through Azure, but this has been our primary relationship. And what's evolved is going from, we started with with GPT 3.5, and now we have GPT-4 and, multimodal. So again, you can be an expert of these terms. Multimodal is simply being able to use multiple inputs, like say text and a picture and video, into a prompt to be able to get some type of result. So that's really cool. Initially ChatGPT Plus had this capability, and now I have this access in Copilot where I can actually upload multiple documents and things to be able to have a richer experience. One of the other things that I'm pretty excited about is what we're doing with transcription and translation, especially in the healthcare space, and doing it being multi-languages, also doing sentiment analysis. Imagine, you work in a call center and, somebody gets referred to you, from someone else. You can know, is this person upset? Is this person happy? You can be prompted on how to flow through that. And so this is very powerful. And then also the idea of fine tuning. While most people can use the models as they are and use your own data, you can also fine tune and, determine, add additional parameters to your models that work within, within your offering. Quickly going to comment on top use cases. So there are tons of use cases, and I always love hearing things that I haven't heard before. And I'm like, oh, that's a really cool application of it. But when we talk about enterprise chat GPT, that's just better knowledge mining of data within your organization. And candidly, yes, you can do a search, like I can go search in SharePoint or search for things, but then I just get a list of links, and then I have to go dig for it. So just like ChatGPT works, having that capability within your own organization, within your own data, again, it's pretty exciting when you start pulling more curated information to yourself. Intelligent call centers and better analytics and service. I think there's, this area, as it's being revolutionized for sure. We all want a better experience when we call a call center, and we can prompt, they can know our sentiment, they can, make recommendations using AI real time, building your own co-pilots, content generation. Just what we need is more content, right? But I'll talk about this a little bit more later, but the idea to be able to do curated, targeted content generation, versus just generalization is great. And then hyper-personalization as well, again, that really targeted piece. Now, I wanted to just show you an example within an industry, and there are a lot of examples. We have that on Microsoft.com and across LinkedIn and different areas where industries are being revolutionized, right? So I'm just using this as an example within financial services and banking. And again, think of this as not just an individual user doing an email, which is great that you can use it, for your own personalized ability, but access, but also co-pilot supporting branch and contact center agents, fraud detection. We all need that. There's so much fraud out there. Empowering advisors and agents, based on your data. So they know more about you and knowing these products. Client engagement, natural language processing of analysis, accessibility and language, and claims processing. So I could apply this to healthcare, I could apply this to retail, but I think it's really important, no matter what industry you are in personally, go right now and start searching and figuring out how is AI disrupting your industry. I guarantee, and disruption is not necessarily a bad word. Sometimes things need disrupting, right? It needs transformation. I think accessibility and inclusion is awesome as well, because we need more accessible and inclusive experiences. And imagine, being able to use natural language things for your unique needs and being understood. It needs transformation as how you show up. I think is really key. Accessibility and also more inclusive. I'm very excited for more people being able to code, and more people getting into technology and being able to build and do things that have never been done before, that they have never done before. And then also mobility, people with mobility disabilities. Now, I don't have a mobility disability, but I will tell you, I use the Chat GPT app in voice mode all the time. You can talk to it interactively, and there's times I have it on a button on my new iPhone that have never been done before. I'll have a question and that they have never done before. I also use Bing Chat. And so mobility, people with mobility disabilities, and then also making now I don't have a mobility disability, but I will easier for all. All right, we're going to go a little bit deeper here. I'm not going to deep dive technically in all of this, but I just want to give you kind of the orientation and landscape of kind of the next level down. So we've talked about Copilot, we've talked about business use cases, we've talked about industry. One thing that is key to know, if you look in the inner wheel, again, this is not just specific to Microsoft, but you're looking at infrastructure, right? So this is where a lot of our models run and the like. We have digital and app innovation, again, being able to code more quickly and to create more quickly, and then data and AI. And so we have Azure OpenAI Services, Power BI, and other capabilities. But the data and AI piece and, knowing your data, so that's an important category, especially in an enterprise, or as you're starting to learn about AI, is understanding how that data empowers. If we move on around the wheel, we have modern work, and again, that and business applications that you can build on top of. And then most importantly, security. We'll talk about that in a moment. But I think one of the key things to know is, while we get to see the output and engage with this and use this capability, as you working in an enterprise, or you're working in a small business or a consulting firm, or you're a founder, is understanding that these services work together, right? And again, I'm giving you Microsoft as an example. There are some others out there that they're not as comprehensive as this. As you working in an enterprise, just to understand working in a small business or a consulting firm, and work together, you're a infrastructure and cognitive services, machine learning and OpenAI services. And I know this may all look, fairly complex, but we created it all integrated to work together. And again, so you can build and then take advantage of these services. There are some others out there that like it says below, AI innovation and customization is available everywhere in the enterprise. These services are there and work together. And again, just to go one level down, so this is just a different view of this. Right, and again, this is just our perspective of it, and you can see Azure OpenAI Services as an example. But there are some others out there, all of these capabilities that are amazing, related to cognitive search, to bot services, to being able to use your own data and stand up these chat and bot capabilities very quickly, looking at immersive readers and speech and language. And so it's important to know these capabilities, even if you're not programming them yourself. This gives you an idea of what to being able to use your own data, and the chat capability and Chat GPT or Copilot or another tool is awesome, but it's really what you can do to enable the enterprise and B2B and B2C. And so it's just, the possibilities are endless. So just to zip through the rest of this so I can let the other speakers speak here, I did quickly want to speak about kind of the overview of what an app looks like. Again, you don't have to be technical to understand this, but it is important to understand that the beauty of this, the way this is working now, and this capability, is having the AI infrastructure, which I've just talked about, using your own data, using these foundation models, right? And so there's OpenAI. We have lots of different models you can use based on what you need. You have built-in security and privacy and testing. And then you can build your own copilots. You can use Microsoft copilots. You can build your own plugins. You can use your existing services. So the beauty of this is supercharging you and your organization. And this is a framework and an empowerment for you to customize and build your own solutions. And again, I just wanted to quickly comment here. We have an offering called Microsoft Fabric. And what I love about this is it's very inclusive. And I won't go into a lot of detail here, but the key thing here is you can be multi-cloud. We know a lot of our customers are multi-cloud and are on other clouds. They're on-prem. They have, their data in a lot of different places. So the beauty of Fabric and built on top of our OpenAI services is it doesn't matter where your data is. We're not moving the data. I love the terminology. It's a meta data lake, but we have the ability to supercharge your data no matter where it is, no matter what cloud platform it is on, which I think is pretty awesome. And again, we have thousands of models in Azure OpenAI. And so even though we have our partnership with OpenAI, Microsoft has been in the model business for a while, when we also have partnerships with NVIDIA and Meta and Hugging Face and others. And so that's, it's pretty cool to see how expansive this is. All right. This is super important, and I know there's a lot of misinformation out there around security. There are valid concerns. There is a lot of misinformation, but just to have clarity here from our perspective, and again, this should be a baseline, because I know not everyone uses Microsoft, but we have set the standard here, is you want to make sure your data is your data. Your data is not used to train the OpenAI foundation models or any other models. And then your data is protected by the most comprehensive enterprise and compliance tools. So your data will never be going back into OpenAI. Now, you can use your data on top of the models to tune and train data, and that sits within your secure infrastructure, but that is yours and secure to you. All right, and from an AI safety perspective, Microsoft does have, this is where we are really differentiated in our principles of fairness, privacy, and security. We have a very high corporate standard. All this is documented. Tools, testing, training, we take it very seriously. And I'm very proud of what we're doing in AI safety. I know a lot of other companies are really focused on this. And so just remember the standard and making sure that this is integrated. I know a lot of people are trying to do things on their own, a lot of companies, and that's great that you want to innovate. But as consumers and as users and as business people, we need to make sure that the highest level of safety and standards are there. And again, this is just another, view of this, talking about privacy, security, reliability, fairness, transparency, accountability, and being inclusive. And, we really lead on this area. All right. As I close out here, I really want to talk about the rapid rise of advancements in AI and the skills needed. Now, we talk about technical skills, but there's also business skills, user skills, using it in the flow of work. And I will say, a lot of times it's like, oh, there's free AI training. And it's like how to hands-on technically build something. A lot of us may never do that, right? And so there is a lot of training. The best thing you can do is train yourself. I taught one of my daughters in college. I paid for her to have ChatGPT Plus, not to write her papers, but to take her digital textbooks and upload them and showing her how to teach herself. So she can learn about concepts, she can interact, she can test herself on that content, and you can do that yourself. You can train yourself, you can teach yourself, you can do simulated learning, you can do all types of things. But the key is to really focus on these skills because they are in demand right now. And so get the skills you need to power your AI transformation and also power yourself. You want to thrive. I mean, there's no excuse not to go out and be using these tools, especially in your flow of work, but also start asking others in your organization. Expect them to be using these tools, right? So if you're in business and you want to grow in your business, or, in whatever avenue you're using this, it is fair to have the expectation, if your industry is being disrupted and transformed by AI, which I can guarantee most of them are, then you need to skill up and help others around you do that. And that will accelerate implementation and also just for yourself for more meaningful work. And so I really like this construct here is the AI learning journey, understanding it, preparing for it, using it, and then ultimately building solutions. And then finally, I'm just going to finalize here with what's next. So what's coming? And again, you can do your own research, but customized chatbots that are more customized to your experience and kind of know your data and very targeted. And also, we're looking at, that should say hyper-personalization, AI hyper-personalization, text to video. So Carvana, what they've been doing is based on your user profile, they have been generating custom videos with your name targeted to you. I think they built over 1 million customized videos, but I'm pretty excited about this customized text to video capability. AI and science, especially, like I said, in agriculture and life sciences. Multimodal AI is growing, being able to have more video inputs and the growth of that area. AI agents, I'm super excited about this. How many times have we searched for, an itinerary, and then we're like, oh, I wish this could book the reservation. I would love it to book my calendar for me. And so, a lot is coming. Again, don't be overwhelmed by it. Just pick something. Pick something in your industry. Pick something you're interested in. Like I said, I'm interested in Formula One. I'm really following what's happening, how they're using AI, related to growing that industry. There is more disinformation and fakes. And I always say common sense still required. And then also more regulation and guidance coming. We do have an election coming up, so we're really going to have to pay attention and probably educate others around, if it doesn't feel right, or, just validate. It doesn't matter what the information is. And then I'm not going to go through these, but I have provided 3 pages of prompts for you to be able to use. Some of them you can use with Copilot, some of them you can use on your own, but I think that's a wrap. So I will turn it back over, and I hope everyone found this really useful today.
Carol, indeed, it was very useful. Thank you for those wonderful 45 minutes of time flew by. Last time you spoke at an AI summit, we gave you 15 minutes, and I realized that wasn't enough time. And so it's wonderful that all of you can connect up again. And I'm putting in the chat a link to Carol's LinkedIn profile. And Carol's very good about following up with contacts and so forth. So in the chat, I'm putting the
Yes,
link.
I'm happy to connect with whoever wants to connect.
So there you have it in the chat. A link to connect with
Thank
that.
you for the opportunity. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Carol. It was great to have you. And if you have questions, put questions for Carol in the chat or in the Q&A, and she's happy to go ahead and respond to them as well. And speaking of connecting and so forth, I'm putting my link to my LinkedIn profile in the chat, so that if you'd like to connect up with me or follow me, feel welcome to go ahead and do so. The opportunity to connect up on LinkedIn makes for some wonderful connections. So I'm going to share one new website for you. It's a Microsoft website, and we appreciate Microsoft has been a supporter of our AI summits for most of the past year and so forth. And there is a link to a website called AI for All. You probably haven't seen it. I've found that Microsoft doesn't really promote it very much. So look in the chat right now for the link to Microsoft for All. And there you'll see an interesting website. There's a lot of good information on it. It's basically information that will inspire you about what Microsoft is doing in the AI space. And those of you that have requested to connect up with me on LinkedIn, I want to remind you that when you're on my LinkedIn profile, if you click the bell right there, that'll give you a reminder that every time I post, I don't post a lot on LinkedIn, but when I do, it's always got something of value and meaning to people and get lots of engagement. So to make it easy for you, the next link I'm putting in the chat is the link to my profile and the link to the AI for chat profile. So who do we have next? We have speaker number 1 done. Carol finished up with a great 45 minutes, and now we have the opportunity to hear from Brian Cassidy, who's joining us in the evening. He's joining us from Belgium, and I'm going to go ahead and turn the show over to Brian, who has 15 minutes to focus on AI-powered creativity and innovation. And I'm putting Brian's LinkedIn profile in the chat, so you'll be able to connect up with them.
All right, am I live here, Gerald?
Yes, you are.
Okay, fantastic. They say in every problem there's an opportunity. I'm in Brussels. Normally there's really good internet connection. Today the internet connection is not working the way it should be, so actually you're going to get a recording of my video coming up. But there's an opportunity within that. And that means when you're watching my presentation, if you ask a question, unlike when I'm talking, I can answer your questions immediately. I hope you'll enjoy the talk. I think it'll be fun. It's 17 minutes, all about AI and creativity, and there's facts and figures, so take some pictures and screenshots. Robert, you need to share the sound.
And sorry, we're having a little technical difficulty here.
So while we're waiting for this, I'm actually really excited the stuff that presented in the presentation today. We did a lot of the research last week. It's hot off the press. Nobody's seen it before today. By the way, you should feel lucky that you're in here. I have some friends that are trying to log in, and actually we reached the max on the meeting today, so you have to stay in, otherwise you'll get kicked out. Really cool.
Yeah, we've got a lot of people on YouTube that are watching, so the overflow is going there. Okay, we're going to try the video again, Robert. For those of you wondering who Robert is, he's our executive producer.
I'm an 11-time entrepreneur who's built 8 successful companies in 6 different countries. I'm on a mission to coach, train a million entrepreneurs. You have to make the sound louder, Robert. Last year, I worked with approximately 5,000. Robert, you have to share the sound. 200 years to get to my target. We found that So in your Zoom settings, you have to share the sound on the right. To talk to you about AI-powered innovation, the art and science of mechanical.
There we go.
Scaling what we want to do better. But I'm not there yet. My story with AI isn't where it was today. It was a pretty strange and rocky start. I found it was kind of strange, a little bit geeky, and the words and the feeling just didn't fit exactly right. And I certainly didn't believe AI could help much with creative work. Frankly, that's all changed. I'm now all in on AI.
I'd like to tell you how it happened. I work with lots of companies in lots of industries. They're different and sometimes make tough requests. One of my favorite jobs with clients is one-day ideation sessions. I had a session planned in Spain with 25 technical people. I got a call a week in advance. Say, Brian, there's been a change in plan. You got 2 hours to run a full-day event instead of the normal 8 hours. Thursday through Monday, I procrastinated, avoided the challenge, thinking, shit, this is really tough. Tuesday, I made a decision. As they say, a deadline makes everything possible. I decided, let's do everything with AI. I'd already had some tools in place to work on alignment and pitches with AI, and decided to throw in some new parts around building ideas and checking ideas with AI. We explicitly put AI into the process, trying to make everything work faster and faster. A big part of the process of ideation is to try to get ideas out. We decided to use Triz, which I'll tell you about in just a second, to see how things went. Overall, tell you in advance, it was a tough but a fun session, and we ended up with 2 ideas on target. But let me tell you what we used. How do we generate 80 ideas in 20 minutes? Well, we use a methodology called Triz. Triz is an acronym of event principles in Russian. It's complicated but powerful. It might take you a week to learn how to really use it, but with AI and a little bit of knowledge, you can get started in minutes. In 30 seconds, here's the basics of Triz. Research has shown that 97% of patents are being issued for ideas that exist already. And these ideas come from 40 inventive principles, which cover 90% of the ideas generated. If you apply these principles to a challenge, you'll get proven ways to solve many of your problems with ideas already shown to work in other industries. If you don't get a solution, you'll at least get new ideas. A sample prompt might be, please generate 80 ideas, 2 for each of the 40 Triz inventive principles. Our challenge is a new authentic Oreo product. If we do this, it'll come up with really quick general ideas. For example, segmentation might lead to create Oreo bites with different flavored fillings inside each segment. This will get you pointed in one direction. If you make your challenge much more detailed, we use something called a full true north, you'll get really specific ideas. This works in a simple setting like this. I chose Oreos because it's easy to visualize, a lot easier than from an industrial setting. Here's what we did in the event. We started with one clear challenge, helped with AI feedback. We got 80 ideas from Triz and 20 others. We shortlisted the top 10. We did synthetic user testing and some human choice to come up with 5. We did presentations for 5, and we decisions on 2 in 2 hours. Wow, that's a fantastic result. On the flight back, I said, man, that was hard work, but man, the results were fantastic. We came up with 3 how might we's. How might we make it easier? How might we get tools to cover the whole process? And how could we get better interaction with AI in the process? I teach and use a standard innovation process, which I call the ABCs of innovation. I call it the ABCs because it's as easy as the ABCs. This is also the plan, do, study, act process, the lean startup process, and basically the same as design thinking. It all starts with alignment, then you build ideas, communicate and check, and systematically improve. When I got back, I went through a deep dive and looked at where do I go, what do I want to do next. I found that AI was beating 99% of humans on standard creativity tests. The only place that humans were winning is in terms of novelty. And when humans and AI work together, ordinary humans don't stand a chance. If 97% of ideas exist already, then ideation is really a search and analogy challenge. AI always wins there. We decided to make a bet, continue forward. We built 4 different versions of the product. The first one was pretty ugly. The second, we started integrating the different stages of the innovation process. The third was a test version, and the fourth, which we have today, is 265 tools, including 6 apps. We did all of this in different versions on Claude, also on ChatGPT. We chose ChatGPT because the results were better and it was easier to manage. What do we get as far as results? We've done it with 24 beta testers. The reaction is almost consistently always, oh, wow. Wow, I didn't know I could do that much that quick. They liked the step-by-step process, but there was an issue with data overload. So right now we're looking at improving this in doing two things. One is validating those initial impressions to prove it really works, and solving the AI plus human problem. What we learned in the process is pretty clear. With AI, humans alone, neither one is a clear winner in the ideation process. When humans work with AI, they build better, faster ideas. But there's failures on critical tasks when people over-rely on AI. If you work in a smart way with AI, and smart we mean proven AI tools, knowledge on how to use the tools, and knowledge on how to interact with AI, you get even better results, faster, and you get less failures. We build tools for the whole innovation process. Each stage starts with an input, then some AI tools, then human plus AI, leading to an output. We created tools for the whole innovation process: align, build, communicate, check, systematically improve. The idea is to move forward step by step, with an output in one stage leading to an input at the next stage. It looks like a simple, straightforward process, but in fact, it's a really iterative process where things move forward one step and might go back two. For the rest of the talk, we're going to focus on just one part of the innovation process. That's about building ideas. I'm going to give you some facts about the art and science of mechanical creativity with AI. First, some math, the innovation math. The quality of your innovations are defined to a large extent by three factors. One is the challenge clarity. Two is your ability to create ideas. And three is your ability to review and improve those ideas. That works whether you're using AI or whether you're doing it with human beings alone. And we'll see as we've tested things in each of those areas. Our innovation toolkit exists right now as an online tool. It's pretty straightforward. You go to the stage you want to work at, you choose a method, provide the input required, and you get insights or ideas. If you look here, this is a sample. We're coming up with just ideas for one sector. In just a few minutes, you end up with hundreds of ideas. We decided to test the tool with a challenge that's already been used in other research. We also chose to focus our first part of research on idea building because, in my opinion, this is arguably the easiest part of the innovation process. The question is, how much can AI do, and how can we work better with AI? Our focus in our research is not on easy creative challenges like uses for a brick, but on wicked challenges that are hard to define, hard to solve. For our research, we borrowed a challenge already used in some working papers by academics at Wharton and Cornell. The challenge we looked at: ideas for physical products less than $50 US targeted to university students. The advantage of using this, the specific task, is there's already been designed some ways to evaluate ideas and show work that's been done with AI. What did we get? We used our tool. We generated 8,314 ideas if we include the 740 that came from human beings. If we take out the ones that were outside of our target, which is about 35%, we were left with 5,402 ideas. We tested and compared lots of ways to generate ideas, and we have the following groups. We have humans working alone. You have humans with no AI training. We have our base, which is basically ChatGPT with a structured objective. Please give me 200 ideas. We have ChatGPT 4 with request. We have alternative views. Imagine you're Apple, Einstein, or somebody else creating an idea. We have traditional creativity methods like Scamper, De Bono's Thinking Hats. We have creative combinations, which is something I'll build an idea that's red, rhymes with pickles, and make it easier to study. And we have a full collection of lesser known methods. We have 8 TRIZ methods. There's different ways to look at the results. The first is actually just looking at the standard metric that's been defined in some of the research that's been done. We're looking at the metric there, which is a score from 0 to 10, which represents purchase intent times the novelty of the idea. When we look at the average score of these ideas in terms of the evaluation, is relatively low. Maybe we're a little bit hard in terms of the purchase intent, but what you see most importantly is not much difference coming up between human beings and the other methods. Basically, the results are similar. The second thing that you can measure and look in the results is to look at the diversity of ideas. We've used a tool called cosine similarity. It's a bit like a correlation score. 0 means completely different. 1 means all the same. In this case, a low score is a good score. In this case, what you'll see is the lowest score are for human beings alone. And they are the most diverse, and they have the least level of similarity with our base that we compare, which is ChatGPT as a whole. You'd say all good, approximately the same, and more diversity as far as humans. Humans, we got to win this process. The question we have for you is, do you really want 5,000 ideas, or do you want a few good ideas? What we did is we used the scoring, which is purchase intention times novelty, and we rated all the ideas. Here you have the ideas associated with the different idea generation methods. A box chart shows where the majority of the replies are, and then you have some stragglers up on top. What we decided to do was to analyze the number of ideas that come at the top, which is above the 95th percentile. You see from humans, we have 3 out of 150. For ChatGPT 3.5, we have 4. There's 9, 6, 9, 7. If we put these results in for all of the ideas, what you see is a completely different story. The story here is that human beings alone are generating approximately 1 big idea per 100. If you look at ChatGPT working alone, somewhere between 2 and 2.5. And if you look at structured ideation tools, somewhere between 4 and 8. This is a huge difference. This means for each 100 ideas, there's 8 more coming from TRIZ that are top ideas versus human beings. There's 5 other results I'd like to share with you. The first, and this is kind of non-obvious for me, is the percentage of top ideas coming out based on the prompts that we start with. If we look at a starting point, which is an objective limited constraints, we set that as our base, we have 100. If we want to take the objective and make it more clear, we call it a true north, where there's a story and objective restrictions and tactical constraints, you find that the number of quality ideas goes up. We tested just with adding a story, and in fact, almost all of the results come from the story itself. We also tested using ChatGPT 3.5 versus 4.0. Here, what you'll see in the middle is if your challenge is just searching for ideas, there's really no difference between the two, and in fact, a slight increase for ChatGPT 3.5 versus 4.0. But if you're lazy and you say, just give me ideas, ChatGPT 4 is much better because it interprets your ideas in a useful form. And if you're looking at more difficult challenges, imagine if, the creative combination, the think like so-and-so, ChatGPT 4 does a little bit better. It's an important sideline here that, in fact, the cost of running this, if you were to run it with 4.0, is $31 per run. With 3.5, it's just 61 cents. So it's important to make sure. Second thing we found is that over time, the methods decline. Just like human beings, people get tired of generating ideas. Even ChatGPT gets tired. What we found is that if we add each time a new method, we get more and more ideas. Different methods were different results. And what we can do is we can measure the quality of different methods based on the utility of the ideas, novelty of the ideas, and diversity. And we're putting together a report card. These are not real results, but they will be available. You can get them later by following the link. The question you might ask is, what's the single best way to increase the number of ideas in any project? It's the same with people as with AI. When you take one challenge and look for ideas, in this case we had 270 top ideas, we can run again for a slightly different challenge. We'll get new ideas. We get a lot of dupes of the ideas, but we get incremental ideas. We did the 5,000, we got another 5,000. We found that in fact there was a big overlap. And we'd expect that if you continue the process, you get more ideas. The biggest potential of AI in humans is probably the way that we work together. This is the second study we'll be running soon. You work together with AI to define a challenge. You work together have AI generate lots of ideas. You have a process where you can actually look and summarizing those ideas, working together with AI to select and merging ideas together. It all works better with each side focusing on what they do best. Question is, does all this matter? Well, it does. It's important because this process allows you to generate better ideas faster and easier. We're able to run a 5-day idea sprint in 2.5 days instead of 5 and generate 2 to 3 times more top ideas. We can run amazing one-day ideation sessions. How it works? We go step by step with AI as a partner in their process to get the alignment right, get more ideas, get systems to decide and pitch things out. In the end, it's not a question about humans or AI or which is better. What really matters is how you work with AI. The how to work with AI best is pretty simple. You learn AI in context. If you're learning, you want to use AI for innovation, learn AI for innovation. If you're in sales, learn AI for sales. If you're in programming, learn AI for Python. Secondly, use tools. Don't reinvent the wheel and keep humans explicitly in the room. If innovation is your business, you can be a beta tester of our toolkit in the following different ways. You can join one of our one-day courses. You can run a sprint with us. You can join our 5-day courses and certification, or you can do it on your own. All you need to do is fill in the link, tiny.cc AI-creativity. You'll also get an e-version of our book, My Book Cycles, a method report card when it's ready, access to our toolkit, and course discount. If you want, you can also connect with me on LinkedIn. Let me close. Here's the 2 links. Free stuff for your feedback and contact with me on LinkedIn. Thanks very much. Cheers.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I appreciate Brian's monitoring the chat, which lit up during the conversation. And it's nice to see all those handshakes coming up on the Zoom chat. So people were really engaged in your conversation. And Brian, thank you for being wise enough to have a video backup because of internet challenges and so forth. That worked out great. So your experience with troubleshooting is outstanding. Now we want to take a look at the lineup of speakers and where we are with our next speaker. I do want to remind some of you that we have speed networking on Zoom at the end of today's summit. So the last 45 minutes will be spent networking on Zoom, and you need to write down this website address, networkonzoom.com. Write it down on a piece of paper or on a document next to you, so you remember that's where you're going to go to actually log in to do the speed networking. We do the speed networking in small groups of 5 to 6 people. It's a chance for you to talk with the speakers. Most of the speakers are end up in your breakout rooms, so which makes it great for you to connect up with them. So again, that's coming up after 4 more speakers. And if we take a look at our speakers that we have today, we just finished up with Brian Cassidy, and now we have Charlie Caldwell from Global Investments, who's going to share 15 minutes with us on living smart with AI. So Charlie, good to see you again, and thank you for joining us for this AI Summit.
Let me share my screen. Can everybody hear me all right?
You sound great.
Okay, great. Great to meet all you today. I want to focus on a little bit on what Brian was into, and also with Carol. Carol specifically, it showed a model showing the importance of your own data. The challenge you can have today with AI is, what if you don't have the data you need to build some of the capabilities you want to build, so you can really adopt AI in a way where you can hit the road running right away. And that's really what I want to focus on today, is that it's so important. There's so much information. There's so many applications. Every company's different. Every person's different. The trick is to know where to focus. And this is something that, I've learned over many, many years. I've, got in the information business some 40 years ago, but essentially I've been building models. A lot of this came out of pioneering the digital asset management market with all the big companies. We started, in fact, it was originally called media asset management. And when I started looking at the data and what everybody was doing, this is back in the late 90s, you start seeing like, wait a minute, these are digital files. These are every kind of file you can imagine. So if you're in a Disney, you're looking at video. If you're in an audio company, you're looking at audio. If you're looking at, writing code, you're writing, or magazines or whatever, you're writing, you're authoring. But there's all kinds of different ways to look at what individual knowledge workers are doing every day. And that's what really dawned on us back. We were collecting data from millions and millions of people all over the world. And then we started, with all this data, we started building these models. And what came out of it was really important to know who you are as a person and what you do all day. It's really, really critical if you have some way to kind of have a baseline or some kind of a benchmark to know what that is. So if you look here in this image, work groups are essentially, this is really what each type of knowledge worker does on a day-to-day basis. We've broken this down into hundreds and hundreds of segments, but if you look at all the core categories, authoring, administrative kind of work, meetings, communications, research and learning, creative development, which is what Brian was kind of highlighting. Then you have the environments today, which, come in a COVID, post-pandemic world. We're working at home, we're working in the office, we're working at Starbucks. The point is where you work can have a huge impact on your productivity. So that's a really big issue today with management, trying to figure out how do you manage, how do you balance out where people live and work at, across a huge enterprise. And then you've got down this other model here, the workforce itself, the well-being, that, how happy, how healthy are my people? I mean, you want a very strong, robust workforce to basically operate on 100% every day. So that's a big, big issue today. And it gets into everything from plans and benefits. And I'm going to show you I'm going to talk a little bit about at the end of my presentation on this. And then you've got the IT capabilities. So the main thing here is what I refer to as corporate DNA. We're going to get into that in detail, but that work groups area, this is really important because if you have the data you need to actually measure a corporation, I mean, talking, the largest companies in the world down to startups, but the larger you are, the more complex you are, the more diverse you are in locations around the world, the larger number of knowledge workers you have, the more AI is going to impact you. So when we drill down here, as I said, it's really important to know what's every individual doing in each company, and who are they? What do they do? What do they want? What do they need? Well, you need to answer that question, because if you start looking at applying all the different applications, you're going to get lost. I mean, there's so many places to go. What you want to do is focus in on the areas where you can get the greatest impact upfront. So you get that impact and you make those cost savings, and then that drives you. Take those cost savings and drive it into the next and the next. So what you need is to be able to develop strategy. You need to develop roadmaps and action plans that are grounded based on the information of your business, the DNA, the people, and what those people are doing on a day-to-day basis. So when you start to break things down, what you could see, this model here is about all the little data components that are in your business. The challenge today is how you normalize that. How do you bring all that information together into the AI tools so you can use them? Well, again, your problem is if you don't know where to start, because it costs a lot of money. It takes a lot of time, a lot of resources to basically build the data, the foundational baseline data that you need in order to look at your productivity. And this is where, if you talk to business executives around the world, this is where everybody's trying to, really kind of starting to realize is that AI is transformative. It can really help you take your business from where it is today into the future. Well, that's partly the issue that everybody's faced with now. I mean, how do you take a global company? How do you localize your products all over the world and streamline that process and bring products to market, in a shorter amount of time? Things like communications and meetings, texting. Texting, if you think about what you do every day, texting, it's really kind of stupid in a lot of ways. I mean, you sometimes you just need to get on the phone and talk to somebody face to face to share an idea, to share something quickly. There's a place and a time to text, but at the same time, device addictions become a huge problem. So things like this is where this activity based, if you have the data, it says this is what we're doing now, but this is what we could be doing. That's the key, is to know where to apply AI in a way where you can really get the impact and the ROI you need to basically fuel for future development. So I want to point out things like best practices, like daily team scrum meetings, where you get everybody, in small teams, they come together in a room, virtual, wherever, you're on the screen, you get to share and see what everybody's doing for that day. Those type of things could be extremely important for keeping a team together and focused and working and communicating. Things like engineering lunches. We actually had one today. Very fascinating. It's a great way to get people in the office. People that can't attend can be outside and dial in, but they're really effective. And then things like heat maps, productivity reviews, actually having your data, if you're coding or you're developing products, you can look and see how you're progressing by putting your data in and looking at it visually on a screen. So these are kinds of things that I think are really, really important, because we're living in a world now where there's so much information, there's so many tools, so many different things that everybody's overwhelmed. And it's really important. It's going to get worse with AI. So it's really important to be able to focus and know where you're going to get the ROI that you need to have to make the impact you need to have in the company. So I'm going to give you an example here. I think Brian was talking about Oreo. So here's a great example. Mondelez, if you're familiar with Nabisco. I mean, these guys make cookies and crackers, and they're huge. They're in 45 manufacturing locations all over the world. When we took and did a DNA model on Mondelez, and then we started looking at, okay, if we were to attack, these areas of inefficiency, what kind of impact could we have? So imagine having the data up front without even walking in the door and having this kind of information for a management team to really look at what you're doing now versus what you could be doing in the future. We used to build ROI calculators for all kinds of solution providers. Having these models, we could take an application, plug it in, and see what kind of impact it would have on the productivity of a company and see what it did to the bottom line. This is the power of AI. This is the power for what corporations are going to be able to do. So these are real numbers. I mean, Mondelez, you're talking about the potential of 1 year of getting 1.1 billion in savings. It's huge. Now, if you want to narrow that down, you start looking at, here's the data. This is all the people. So we modeled, this is a worldwide view of the company. And you can see offsite meetings, on-site meetings, phone correspondence, email correspondence, editing, text-based authoring. Well, if you're writing code, you're authoring. If you're texting, you're authoring. If you're writing a paper, you're authoring. This is what people do, but it varies by every kind of different knowledge worker. So what we do is we take and build the data from the company. It's very specific to the operations of a corporation. We have these models we've been developing for 20, 30 years. We extract from those and we build the DNA model for the corporation. Once you have this model, which is hundreds and hundreds of thousands of cells of data, once you have this model and you plug it in and you tie it into the rest of the information in your company, the applications that you can put together are mind-boggling. But the key thing here is you'll know where to focus. You'll know where you're going to get the biggest bang for your dollar. So important today when there's such limited, resources to go around and so much work to get done. So I want to give you a little history here. This is not something you can just do overnight. That's why we've been waiting for AI for 20 years. We saw this, we saw these solutions. So we started building we had the data. It was really important for us to be able to pull this data together, build the models, and that's essentially what we did. You don't need huge numbers of people doing this, if you're doing it for long periods of time. The advantage is that when we started so long ago, that we've been back testing and updating these models for 30 years. So now what we're looking to do is we have the models, we have the data, the DNA models for any corporation. What we're looking for is to work with partners that want to either bring their solutions in and they need to do ROI on them, or the corporations and the consultants that want to go in and help these corporations build it. We supply that source baseline data model, the DNA model for that company, which then in turn can be plugged in, and then all these new applications and systems can be built off of it. It's to augment what people are doing today. But again, not having that information, you don't necessarily know where to focus. And you don't know what kind of impact, if you go into one project, whether it's going to fail or whether it's going to succeed. But what's it going to do to your bottom line? What's it going to do to your cost structure? That's really important to know up front. So if you want to, these are the kinds of people, we've been collecting data from all these companies all over the world. Microsoft, we were working, helped design Bill Gates's Corpus. You can see them on the list here. I was brought in to architect that system to manage more assets than you can imagine. But every one of these cases, every company's different. They're all made up of unique types of knowledge workers that are doing different things every day. Well, we have the model, so we can look at a company from the outside looking in. We can build that model because we're extracting from world models on the economy of the world, the countries of the world, every product and industry and market in the world. We extract from those and build the models from them. So when you get into the details and you start looking at, okay, where to focus and so forth, what you're able to do is you can narrow in on any one thing. So you can look at a specific process that you're doing now. There's all kinds of companies. Maven comes up to mind in Europe. That's what they're doing with Accenture. They're taking and they look at a current process and they figure out how to do it better. Well, but what they can't do is look at it on the whole of the whole corporation. And so that's the point, is like, what if you're focused on doing the wrong project first? What you want to do is you want to dive into the ones where you know you're going to make the impact, you're going to get the cost savings. So you have to have that baseline. Once you have the baseline, you can determine what's your optimum situation. And then you can see what the differential between the optimum and your baseline gives you your potential. And then what can you capture of that potential? And that's really what you're trying to do, is you want to basically have people go into meetings and be more effective and be, get things done in less time, have less meetings, but have effective meetings. Spend less time emailing and corresponding. Use things, all these new AI tools to author in half the time. If you write code, what you can do with ChatGPT and Copilot is amazing. It's clipping that code, sticking it in, say what's wrong with it, and the feedback you get, it can drastically help you speed up your development time. I know. I mean, I do this every day. So to give you an idea of what DNA looks like, here's a map, but it's logic. So it's data, but it's context. You have to tie the two together. You have to be able to look at how everything fits together. That's the value of having a DNA map and seeing how everything interconnects in your company in real time. So if you have a predictive model, you can have this historic information that you can see where you've been in the past. You can look at where you are today, but then you can also look at where you can be in the future. Imagine being able to have that kind of capability across a GE, across a Boeing, across any large corporation. It's game changing. And we know this because we've worked with all these companies over the years. But it's just finally now we're at the point where the technology's to the stage now where you can now take this model, pull it in and tie it in with the other data and the other models in your business. And what we do is basically, because we have these geo-econometric data models that we've been building for so many years, we can constantly, we're back testing. We can constantly go back and back test. And that's what you're doing with IT from applications and systems and devices. You can extract data out the log files out of those systems and back test it against the data you have in your DNA model. And you can continually update it, but you can actually see what's going on. So you're not only getting a map of like, this is what we can do, you can actually track what you are doing. And that's huge. So if I'm going to focus, here's another model. This is on meetings. Meetings happen to be one of the most wasteful areas of every company. It just, people know this. But think of the logic. Look at what goes into creating a meeting. It's much more than Zoom and calendars and schedules and so forth. It's what's the purpose? What do you want to come out of it? What you need to do is each one of the activity areas, we've defined them down to 8 activity areas. Meetings with one, but that activity, and then we drill down and we go down to micro levels of detail in each one of them. So that's the thing, is we build from the bottom up. We're just showing the top levels. The bottom up gives you the detail and micro detail that you can then build up. And that's how you can get really specific about any one area. And so what you need is the consulting firms. This is where you have a huge opportunity. You have practice leaders in each one of the areas. And that's what you do, is you put the practice leaders in place, and they go around and they make sure that meetings are done more effectively around around the company. But you can track it. That's the thing, is if you have the DNA model, you can say, well, this is what we're doing now. How are we performing? Let's implement these changes. Let's see what comes out on the backside. That's what you can do with the DNA model. So here's an example. Here, Talon, based in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, this company is amazing. I mean, I just can't even get into. They've taken the entire U.S., every hospital, every doctor, every nurse, every procedure, every claim, all the insurance companies, and it basically ingested not billions, but trillions of raw data elements in building. The normalization process is mind-boggling. This is AI in its work, and basically building it down and now offering out. Can you imagine you're in, Exeter, New Hampshire, and you want to go and get a colonoscopy, you can go and look up now, what's it cost at Wentworth Douglas, Hospital? What did it cost in Exeter? What did it cost in Portsmouth? And you can actually see the cost. Well, guess what that's going to do? It's going to basically start to empower the individual again on their own healthcare. Back to what I was talking about in the very beginning, happy and healthy employees are much more productive. They create more value. This company alone is going to start to transform healthcare on a huge scale. And I mean, they've been around for about 8 years. They're just getting going. But I just wanted to give you an idea of the kinds of things that you can do with really when you know how to apply AI and you know where to focus it. This is one area that's huge. So one thing I'd recommend, I've been doing this stuff for a long time. I would highly recommend getting my book. It's on Amazon, Living Smart with Heart. It's a baseline book. It should be required reading for anybody in college, just to get the baseline down of knowing what you need to do to become more effective in your day-to-day activities. And with that, you can find it on Amazon. Here's my contact information. I'm on LinkedIn. You can reach out anytime to Gerald, and I'd be glad to reach out. But we're looking, this is such a huge market. We're looking for partners. We're looking for people. You do not want to try to rebuild what we've already built. It's almost impossible, but you can certainly take it and leverage it. And we gladly would work with all kinds of companies, and just contact us and we'll see what we can do together.
Thank you, Charlie. And matter of fact, I just put Charlie's slides in the chat. For those of you who have not been following the chat, I'm going to encourage you to take a look at the chat now and see how robust it is with different comments that people are making and so forth. We've got a huge group today, and it's really wonderful to see people so engaged and commenting as well. I have uploaded the PDFs of the 3 speakers so far. I just uploaded Charlie's PDF. As I mentioned earlier, you're going to get an email from me tomorrow with a link to the web page where that information is. All the slides are available to download, and next week you'll get an email with a video link. We still got an active group on YouTube, I'm seeing, and I want to give a shout out again to those of you that are members of the ArtificialIntelligence-Innovators.org. We've got over 1 million people on LinkedIn. That's one of the reasons why our event has become so popular. Speaking of LinkedIn, our current summit is ranked as the #1 largest event out of all events on LinkedIn. And just so you know, there are 75,000 events listed in the LinkedIn's events directory, and we've got the largest one here as well. I want to also give you a preview that next month on March 21st is when we'll have our next summit. If you want an easy way to remember when we get together, it's always the 3rd Thursday of every month. And I wanted to share with you the profile of the keynote speaker for March 21st. He's Eric Siegel. Formerly with MIT and Columbia University, and his new book, The AI Playbook, came out last Tuesday, and Eric's going to have a whopping 45 minutes of time to showcase his new book, and you'll get a summary of all that. So again, I appreciate we have a lot of people that keep coming back every month, and we appreciate you supporting the speakers. And we have 3 speakers that are done. We're halfway through the summit, and now we have Pan Singh Dhoni. And Pan is going to talk about modernizing data and analytics using AI. So Pan, it's wonderful to have you here, and look forward to your 15 minutes.
Thank you, Garrett. Thank you, Charlie, for highlighting the value of the data. So my next topic is based on the data itself. Let me share my screen. Are you able to see?
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, so that's where the last conversation happened surrounding the data, right? So we know that how important data is, that especially in today's modern world, where we say data is the new oil, right? So the idea is that how we can leverage the AI to get more and efficient value out of the data. So that is the idea, and how we can automate the complete data area. So I will discuss some of the architecture on the data side, and then we'll discuss, right, how we can achieve those goals. So this is the agenda for the topic today. We'll understand data analytics terminology, who are new for the data, right? So they can understand what terminology we generally use. Then we'll discuss about the architecture, and then generative AI and the large language model. It's just an introductory, and then model selection approach, model fine tuning. If you are working in industry, how to fine tune your models, right? And then next topic will be data analysis using AI, and that will say graph, chart, and the report generation using the AI. Developer productivity using the Gen AI, image processing using generative AI, business use cases for retail, AI handling risk and challenges. So if you see data analytics terminology day in, day out, we use these kind of words. So once we say ingestion, right, bringing data from system of records. So that is the ingestion. And we bring data sometime in the pub/sub model into queue. It's kind of container. And then we have, if you see ETL, right, extract, transform, and load. Data modeling, put data into the tables. We create those tables. Aggregation, joining the different tables and create aggregation layer. Data engineering, again, a person who works on the ETL and ingestion. We generally say him is a data engineer. Data analyst, data quality, validate and verify the data, which is good in nature. Business partners who are interacting with the business, giving a requirement, analyst and platform. So these are the general terminology. Next one is the business intelligence, basically insight from the data in the form of report, dashboard, and trend. Machine learning, AI, forecasting, digital marketing, revenue, and growth. These are the common terminology used in data and analytics workspace. So if you see the landscape, right, uh, just will before we go, how we can modernize that, right? So this is the simple or complete enterprise architecture, where you will see left hand side you have system of records, and the maybe operational system, maybe a transactional systems. Then we have integration layer in between. So we use different tool set and methods to bring this data into the platform, and that platform maybe bronze is the staging layer, where the first time we bring the data and then we put that into silver, and finally we have the aggregated gold layer, where we use the data for the future. And if you see horizontal, these are the data quality. If you see for the validation, rule and prevention, data governance, any kind of policies standard we are talking about, that is the data governance. And then data security, if you are talking of identity and access. If you see right hand side, right, let's say for example, if I want to do some kind of marketing or loyalty program, right, I have customer data platform in the right hand side. I use machine learning and AI to get a trend for the data and do proper marketing, maybe through the email campaign or anything else, right, after creating 360 of it. Top of that, if you see business partner, they generally query, they write a SQL query to understand the data and get inside of the data. And we have applications right hand side. These applications can be used for the marketing purpose. So these are vendor apps. Top you will see we have business object, that is semantic layer, and then we have the presentation layer. So these presentation layer we can give this to the executive people, so they can look how the business is performing. So this is overall a enterprise platform. If any organization who are building from the scratch, or maybe they are mature, right? So this kind of architecture you will see somewhere. So idea is that how we can use AI to modernize this. So give more productivity, and not only for the developers or the engineers, right? Analyst, across the board, even how we can make a smart ingestion, right? All these things we are talking here. So now let's go to the AI. As our previous speaker also told, right, AI is not a novel concept. It was around from the long time, but recently the major change happened on the processing side. If you see a lot of machines, right, the processing capacity significantly improved. And top of that, thanks to the different cloud providers, they are giving all these machines, right, the for general from small industry to common man, these machines are available. So we can play around, we can write our own LLM models, right, we can develop algorithms, right, because these are the capabilities we have given by the processors. So this is the major change happened. So that's where you will see recently we have generative AI, all these things are coming in the picture thanks to the machines. So this is the overall artificial intelligence. I'm not going to here give the definition of the artificial intelligence. Everyone knows about that, right? So if we talk about the artificial intelligence, they have the machine learning. Under the machine learning, you will see the deep learning, and we have subset large language model and generative AI. So this is the overall bucket of the artificial intelligence. So I talk about the business, or I talk about the industry perspective, right? If you see the industry, how it is moving from last at least 30 to 40 years, right? Initially, we have seen the waterfall models where projects are running 2 year, 3 year, right? After that, we suddenly see, okay, projects got failed, right? Then we went into different methodology. We told, okay, let's work on the iterative method. At least we can find the issues in beginning, and then don't wait for 2 and 3 years to scrap that project, right? And then we came into agile method where we are saying, okay, every sprint we have to deliver something to business. So overall idea is that primary goal to time to market the product. So why we are talking here in this topic, because AI or generative AI, this is also moving the same concept. Okay, how we can automate things, how we can deliver things in more productive, in a fast manner, right? How we can save some time. So it doesn't mean that we are going to reduce some workforce, but definitely there are ways how we can create a productivity, and a task which is completed maybe in 5 days, right? Can we do that within 2 days? Can we save that 3 days work, right? So that is the whole idea to move the business forward. So now coming on the keeping on the topic the same, we are talking about the how we can make sure that our data platform is more modern and more agile, right? In that way. So we have different components that we talked about, right? So let's say, for example, we have system of record. We are going to ingest the data. So how we can make that smart ingestion? Smart ingestion maybe in the prompt base. We can write a simple prompt, and that prompt will create a complete ingestion pipeline. Maybe let's say, for example, real-time streaming, it will create a pipeline for that, or maybe a batch streaming, it will create a pipeline. So that kind of productivity. So that will help a developer also, not only the improve the code, also to get a code very fast. Instead of developing that code in 2 and 3 weeks, or maybe one month, with the help of AI, that development can be completed within 5 days. So that is the area we can use the AI to implement as a smart ingestion. Simply for the ETL also. So let's say today we are writing a manual ETL logic, and maybe using different kind of technology. We can make that also smart. We can write some prompt based capability. With the help of the prompt, it will write a code for us, and that ingestion will be, that ETL will be more efficient. Similarly, if you go down, right, data quality, validation rules, preservation. So with the help of LLM model, we can create a different validation rule. Even mathematical function also possible with the help of generative AI. We can do all this calculation, all these validation rules we can apply. Governance policies can be implemented. Data security and identity access also can be monitored. Same way, if you go up, right, we can have a smart data model. So once we say smart data model, let's say, for example, I am working on a banking domain. I know what is the banking domain's complete data schema looks like. So if we train that model, if I am going to develop or I am creating a new project, immediately with the help of prompt, I can get complete that model in front of me. And using that model, I can start developing my project efficient and fast manner. So there we can use the AI to create a smart data models. Similarly, for this smart marketing, so let's say, for example, I'm talking about the customer data platform, right? With the help of AI, we can create a very personalized email. We can do proper marketing, and we can give customer like nice, not only text, we can give the nice photos for the product. We can do better marketing. Similarly, for the BI today, what happens, right? We get a requirement. It takes time to deliver that report. With the help of AI, if there is a, let's say someone wants to get top selling product, immediately he can do a query. He can take a prompt. With the help prompt, he can get a complete outcome. Okay, what kind of sales is happening? What are my top trending products are there? Immediately that kind of outcome we can get. Similarly, for business partners, some of the business partner may not very tech savvy. They don't know SQL, or maybe they don't know query, right? How to write query. For them, can we give a kind of chatbot? With the help of chatbot, they can immediately get a outcome. They will not wait different team members to understand that data and give that result. So that takes generally in the industry maybe not a month, but 1 and 2 weeks to analyze that data. Business analyst with the help of chatbot can immediately get answer, and they can communicate this to respective business partner. So that is the whole idea. So each phases from ingestion, ETL, creating a aggregated layer, creating a marketing campaign, power reports, all these can be done through the AI. And with the help of AI, we can speed up our development, we can speed up our productivity, and that will help organization to invest that money into different areas. So that is the whole idea. We can create a data platform with AI capabilities. So coming on the basic concept, already we talked about the generative AI in the previous thing. So generative AI, we already told, right? With the help of text, creating a new kind of content, or maybe with the help of video, we are modifying that video, creating a new kind of video. So if you divide the generative AI in three parts, you say large language models, right? We have large images models. Combination of these two, maybe multimodal. We are talking about the multimodal. So these are the area where right now industry is moving forward, and there are a lot of work is happening, and we can use that capability to enhance our data platform, so we can have better productivity and better outcome, and we will not miss that boat. So that is the whole idea we are proposing here. Now coming on the large language model, so we already talked about, right, translating text into the other languages, improve customer experience with the chatbot and AI assistants, organize and classify customer feedback and write departments, summarize large documents such as earning calls and legal documents we can create with the help of LLM model, create new marketing content, generate software code from natural language. So GPT models are there, BERT, Llama, NPT, and Anthropic. So coming on that, how we can select, because there are a lot of tool in market we have available. A lot of people are writing these day models, right? So what is the best strategy? Which is the better model for us? So there are different criteria where we can focus. So generally it depends on the how important your data is, that privacy, right? How much privacy matters on that? What quality you are looking on the product outcome? And is that cost your concern? Sometimes small organization may have the cost is the concern, right? Maybe latency. Some are interested to get a result little late. So basically they don't want to use the heavy machines, right? All these criteria, we can create a matrix and decide, okay, what is our best strategy to use the models. So maybe we can use the open source models, we'll have paid models. So this chart talks about, right, what are the advantage of the open source model. So if you see, so pros are development is very slow. No, development is slow. The reason is that because we are creating our own model, or we are taking model from the open source, right? So development will take more time, but cost will be low. If you see, because we don't have any vendor lock in here, cost will be very low, and that is the advantage of the open source model. If you go to paid models, so usually offered a LLM as a service. Some can be fine tuned, restrictive license for usage and modification, and pros development is fast because it's already in the market, right? You just need to buy that license and you can use for your purpose. But cost will always be high on that side, and there are chances where you have the vendor lock-in. So based on your organization need, uh, the four factor which we already talked about, right? Privacy, quality, cost, and latency. Based on that, you can decide which kind of model is suits for your organization. So because our industry is moving forward, we are seeing that we have to use the AI capability to create our modern data platform. So we have to, this is the key metrics we have to take account and decide, okay, we are going for the open source, or are we going for the paid version. So these are the factors we have to take in account. Once we decide, okay, we are going with the open source or paid version, then move ahead and implement that into your project. So once we are talking about how we are going to implement that into your project. So let's say, for example, you are working on the financial domain. So what you will have to do, you have to train your model based on the that domain, a specific domain. So let's say here we are talking about the retail domain. So retail domain, we have NRF is there, okay, National Retail Foundation. They have their own data models. So we can pass that data model. We can say, okay, these are the set of objects which will require in the retail, and that's where your model will understand. Okay, once you query, then easily it can translate your requirement, it can give the answer. So that's where you have to identify your objective, and according that you have to fine tune your model. Once we are talking about the fine tuning the model, right, how we have to fine tune. Let's say, for example, take an example, I have one employee table. So employee table, I have to pass through the prompt. Okay, this is my employee table, this is my name, the field name, this is the data type I'm using, this is the length of the data type, and this is the another field. So if you pass this kind of information and through this prompt, and prompt needs to be very fine tuned, and then you can pass that to LLM model. LLM model will understand, okay, this domain, let's say, for example, we talked about the retail domain, this is the, these are the tables are used, and these are the columns, and these are the type of like length of the field are used. So that way he will understand your data schema completely. Once you query, then you have easy to get a answer top of that. So let's say, for example, once you train that LLM model, now it comes to the user. So user will have graphical user interface, either the tool which you are using that have the already given user interface, that's fine. If it is not, you can develop that user interface and you can give that to your respective end user. So user, what they can do, they can pass through the prompt, English prompt. That English prompt will pass to the LLM model. Based on that, you will get a SQL query. That SQL query will get executed into database, and then you will get a result out of that. So behind the scene, it will work. So before that, what you have done, you have fine tuned according to your business need. Once you fine tune properly, you tested that model, then you can give that to the business user for the future work. So that way, it will help you. Is because we are talking here the data and enterprise data platform. So and we are talking. I'm not just talking about chatbot, but this is the strategy we have to follow for to implement these tool set. Same thing on the data analysis and the reporting point of view. And you can ask the English prompt. With the help of English prompt, you can get a respective results in the form of dashboard report, and you can give that to your business partner or the executives. They can easily get that information. Coming on the developer assistance, so as our previous speaker also talk about, right? So right now, if I'm giving a developer, sometimes they take 1 and 2 weeks to develop a code. With the help of AI, you can directly take a help from AI and get a code. And that code, you, if you want, you can do some human intervention and correct that, and you implement that into your project. Same way, you can develop a documentation. With the help of documentation, it will be fast, and consolidated data will be in one place. So there are so many use cases where you can use this AI capabilities. Coming on the image processing, so because this recent surge in the, especially on the OpenAI or the other tools, you will see lot of image processing, quality of the image got improved. So one of the testing what we have done, right, we have created one image with the help of model, generative model, and we found that if you pass a prompt, whatever kind of picture or image you are looking, you will get that kind of answer. So we have done some analysis. So what we found during the analysis, right? So quality of the image is very good. Once you use a generative AI kind of capability, it has very good quality of images. But downside is that it takes time. So first time, once you train a model, it will take more time. But once you, that model get trained, next time the image processing will be faster. So these are the result with our research. So that these are the research we have given. So summary here is that we can improve the image processing more with the help of generative AI and the AI. This is the significant move forward, and but we have to train that model properly. It will take some time. Generative AI benefits across the industry. especially I'm talking about the data point of view. So retail industry can get a significant benefit out of that. We can do proper, better marketing. We can do better image development. We can do product description very well. So all these benefits retail can get. Same way, auto industry also can get a lot of benefit. We can improve the image processing, and a lot of accidents which are happening in auto driving car, those can be reduced because it has a more clear object, and based on that, driver can take a decision. Medical images can be improved. It will improve the life of the patient also. Sometimes what happens with that image quality is not that great, so we are not able to identify different kind of disease. So maybe once the image is more clear, doctor can easily understand those problems, and he can give you the right treatment. Forensics also, if you are talking about the forensics, so those area we can do lot of improvement, and criminal cases can be easily like solved with the help of AI. Same way, synthetic, we can create a synthetic, not only data, images also we can create synthetic, and that will help to different industry. So these are the across benefits which we can leverage. So idea here is that we have to use the AI to enhance our productivity and capability in data side, and which can give across the board benefits. So some of the use cases where we can implement, again, this, I'm not talking one single industry, I'm just giving an example. Let's say, for example, in retail, we can improve the inventory optimization, we can store employee performance, we can improve thief production, we can take help from the AI. Revenue we can increase through the AI, targeted marketing, customer satisfaction, those area we can use the AI. Now, some of the ethical issues which we can deal. So here we have to keep something in mind. Let's say especially on the databases are there. So how to remove the databases? Maybe we can do slicing. We can monitor the data and check the data. If there is a need, we can update that data, right? And regulation we have to put in place. Same way, toxic, discriminatory, and exclusive model, misinformation hazard. Also, we have to go slicing of the data and update the data, curate the data for fine tuning. Regulation needs to be placed, and basic security mechanism needs to be in place. Ensure proper data anomalies, encryptions, and access control needs to be in place. Implement safeguard to access our disclosure of sensitive data during training, storage, and inference. Establish data and model governance, version controlling, monitoring, auditing, data usage policy. All these things we can implement, and that way we can save our data, and we can make a more ethical use of the AI. And before we implement, ask questions. Will data will be shared with the third party? Those things we can ask. If let's say tomorrow we are going with the third party models, right? These kind of question we have to ask vendor. Do you have data lineage that enable you to delete data from various storage part? All these questions we have to ask with the, if you are going for paid version. History, whether they are storing the history or not. Is that data there? Is that security in place? All these questions we have to ask with the different vendors when we want to take a paid version of the models. So these kind of questions we have to ask, and these are part of the your complete implementation, modernization of the platform.
Say,
So some of the
Pan,
yeah.
this is Gerald. I just want to give you a note. We're running over time right now, so if you can wrap things up in about a minute, that would be good. Because we're over.
Sure.
Okay.
So these are some of the references I have taken. I have highlighted these references here, and this is my, like, you can reach me in LinkedIn. This is my LinkedIn profile, and thank you very much.
Oh, okay. That was quick. Your timing was good. And everyone, I put the PDF of Pan's slides in the chat. So if you scroll through the chat, you'll see the PDF. Matter of fact, I'll put it in there one more time just to make it easy for you to follow. I also put Pan's LinkedIn profile connection in there as well. And now we are moving on to transitioning to the next speaker. I wanted to remind you to visit linkedingroups.com. At linkedingroups.com, you'll find a list of 50 different groups that we have created on LinkedIn to make it easy for people to network with like-minded innovators. And so LinkedIngroups.com, easy website to remember and so forth. And then toplinkedinevents.com has a list of all the different events that we're involved in sponsoring and doing as well. We are getting close to the speed networking, so stick around. You'll get to talk with the speed networkers and the speakers during the breakouts. And now we get ready for speaker number 5 at the AI Summit. That's Dr. Natalie Pettihoff with Competitive Advantage Consulting. And Natalie is going to speak about AI and empathy, designing experience at scale and drive loyalty. It's wonderful to have you, Natalie. Thank you for
Thank you,
joining us.
Gerald. Thank you very much. This has been fantastic. Oh my gosh, I could just soak in all these speakers. They're just really amazing.
Thank you. I get to do it every month. I look forward to this.
It's pretty incredible. Thank you, Gerald, for putting all this together. We really appreciate you.
You're welcome.
Okay, to share my screen. Here we go. So what I'm going to talk about is empathy and AI. And the idea here is that they're better together. And oftentimes I think people think a lot about the technology, but what I really want to speak to is the technology and the people and why it's better to look at it this way. So since the beginning of time, we have been at the effect of how technology has changed our lives. And we're currently now in the 5th industrial revolution. And this is a time when there's the possibility for deep, multi-level collaboration between machines, people, and awareness. And at the same time, we are in another hype cycle. So this hype cycle was developed by Gartner back in 1995. And what's interesting to me, having been in technology for a long time, is that every technology goes through the same hype cycle. So CRM, ERP, cloud, social, digital, and now here we are in that kind of hype cycle for generative AI. And part of that is because it can take time for an organization to really become ready to adopt the new technology. Organizational change is really part of this because we're really changing the way that we interface with people, and people can be the long pole in that tent. So that's part of why I want to talk about how important empathy is. So let's take a look at, I'm going to take a look at 2 areas. The first one is customer service, and the second one is the future of work or the employee experience. So we're all customers, right? We've chatted or tried to dial and talk to customer service. And after you press a bunch of buttons or try to press 64 forward to try to figure out, you've forgotten what the prompts were. And so what's interesting is that we've designed experiences that actually make customers frustrated. And the blind spot for many companies is that they'll just find more customers. But what we find today in the research is that customers are voting with their feet and with their mouses. In fact, the research shows that 80% of executives believe that they provide an amazing experience, yet only 8% of customers agree. And so that makes a lot of us feel this way. And sometimes what we see is that we've programmed our scripts. So whether it's a chatbot or an agent to say things like, oh, I'm so sorry that's happening to you. I know how disappointing this is. I'd be disappointed too. When in fact, what our customers really want is they want help, and they want you to know what they need. Their house is on fire and they want you to say, okay, not apologize, but get the hose. So we programmed our agents and our bots to respond in ways that really aren't sincere. And that's made customers feel like they don't matter, and that affects their loyalty. Now let's look at applying empathy and AI to the employee experience. So I don't know if you've ever been in a meeting and they start to brainstorm, and I really like cartoons because a lot of times they really represent kind of the funny part of reality, but also some things that are kind of true. And so one of the things that I found sometimes when you're brainstorming is this not invented here. So you might make a suggestion and it gets shot down, or sometimes the boss just takes it and pretends like it's theirs. right? And at the end of the day, it doesn't really make us feel very engaged. And it's really no surprise that Gallup's research has shown that 77% of the workforce globally is doing something called quiet quitting. What that means is they show up for work, but they don't put their whole heart into it. So for every dollar that enterprises are spending on salary, they're really getting about 23% in productivity. But it's no surprise why, right? It's not about necessarily return to office, it's about the culture. 50% of the workforce has one foot out the door, meaning that they're interviewing and looking for a better opportunity. What's also fascinating is that the research shows that 77% of the people, they know what they want, but the question is, are we as leaders really truly listening and making the changes to the culture that are required? And the blind spot for companies is that they think they'll just find more employees, but that's not necessarily the case. So the idea behind AI, whether it's for customer service or employee, is to make it more productive, more innovative, a better experience. And AI, hands down, everybody here has shown that that is possible. And what's key here is remembering that employees know what gets in the way of their productivity, where the friction and the frustration is. And they are the ones that are interfacing with customers. So they see what that frustration is. And for all these reasons, AI is not an IT project. It's everyone's responsibility, and it really starts with strategy. So we've come to a very interesting place in corporate America. Many people feel invisible, and fundamentally, there are cracks in the system. So what's the disconnect? Well, a lot of people have asked me this question, and as I find myself as a kind of an anthropologist, a Margaret Mead of technology. And I think part of what happened is the pandemic created this interesting cause for pause. And in those quiet moments, we asked ourselves really big questions about work, about our lives, and what we really wanted for ourselves. And many of us found ourselves feeling like we weren't heard or seen or valued or quite invisible. And so what leaders really need to understand as they're considering transforming and exponentially transforming their organizations with AI is that the workforce and customers are in a very different mindset. And I know there'll be some companies that will use a command and control mindset, kind of that old get on the bus or it's going to run over you kind of thing. But that's not really a good idea. And why should businesses care about this employee disengagement? Well, the studies show that for like a small, medium-sized S&P company, between $228 million and $355 million will be lost in productivity per year. So it's really important to not skip over these flags, these red flags, especially when it comes to culture. And oftentimes, employees may be fearful, right? So if you really want adoption, you really have to look at creating the possibility, and an inclusive approach will be much more successful. So we know customers are frustrated, employees are sick of their jobs, and businesses are struggling. We still see a lot of layoffs, which is really concerning. So why? Well, when you're traveling 60 miles an hour, a blind spot can be really dangerous and put a lot at risk. But what if you could see something you couldn't see before? Might that be of value? So I really want to look at the idea of empathy as a business strategy. So what do I mean by that? So one of the biggest blind spots is not using empathy as a business strategy. And empathy is really the ability to sit in the seat of other people and understand their perspective. And when a culture doesn't have empathy, leaders miss the perspective of the very people, the customers and the employees that know what's not working. And that means they miss essential facts that lead to blind spots because they aren't getting at the root cause. And so oftentimes I see technology deployed and we're doing the wrong things faster, which doesn't really make any sense. And someone mentioned common sense, and common sense is really important with AI. AI and empathy is the ability to sit in the seat of others, hear their feedback, and remember that feedback is the canary in the coal mine and the golden insights which are required for competitive differentiation. And that's, again, why AI can't just start with the technology. Okay, so now let's look at the spectrum of AI technologies. And what I really want to talk about here is what if we connect all the amazing technologies that we're all being asked to look at and to learn and use empathy as a business strategy. That gives us the opportunity to become even more customer and employee-centric. So let's take a look. So if you're in customer service or in the future of work, you probably use some sort of robotic process automation to automate tasks, right? And so when I look at AI, and I think of it as an automation technology, and we've experienced this looking at checking account balances, being able to scan a receipt, checking your deposit, or adding maybe a check. And in corporate lives, we've used this for payroll processing, onboarding new employees, and maybe sorting incoming customer service requests. The next thing that really became pretty big in the automation technologies is using predictive AI. And so what I'm doing here is I'm kind of teasing apart different types of AI. So predictive AI is really understanding and predicting future events based on historical data. And in our personal lives, it's kind of like if you like this, then you like that kind of scenarios. Think of Amazon or Netflix recommendations or wearable health devices where you have insights based on your activities or sleep patterns. In our corporate lives, we may have used this for customer service agents for the next best action. And I addressed that in the book that I wrote. A salesperson could use it to analyze and score leads, or we could use it to determine if a person should be insured and what their premium might be. The next kind of AI is conversational AI, and that's really facilitating communication between humans and machines. So think about chatting with a chatbot or responding to an SMS. In our personal lives, we've experienced it with Alexa, Siri, or Google Assist, or maybe even a voice-powered AI assistant. In our corporate lives, many of us have interfaced with bots. So Sephora has a really interesting use case where they help customers find products, book appointments, and get makeup tips. And those that engage with that bot are 80% likely to be a return customer. Starbucks uses it to make personalized coffee orders, and Whole Foods allows you to chat with a chef bot. Now, generative AI. So generative AI is about taking the input and creating and generating new content or automating responses without the need for predefined scripts. So in our personal lives, if you haven't logged on to OpenAI or other chatbots, it's, I think, one of the most important things, and I want to give a shout out to Carol because I really love her approach. This is a new field. A lot of us have been working for a long time, or maybe you're younger and you haven't been in the workforce. But one of the things that Carol mentioned, I think, is so important is that you always have to have an open mindset and you always have to be learning. So it's really key to experience it. And I think one of the most fascinating things about OpenAI and the chatbot is that when you go in to do something, and some examples here are teach you to negotiate, plan a surf trip, translate a recipe, build a budget, is that when you use these chatbots and you put in a prompt, and I'll talk about what a prompt is in a second, what it does is it gives you a visceral experience of the power behind these generative and large language models. And in fact, the pictures that I've shown for the spectrum of technologies, what I did there was I put in a prompt, I described the technology, and I said, draw a picture. And I did that with DALL-E. And I don't draw. So in 3 seconds, they came up with these absolutely gorgeous images. So it really gives you that visceral experience about how amazing and creative you can be. Now, corporate uses. So a little bit of differentiation between your personal life and the corporate use. When you put your information into an open chatbot, you're exposing your data to everyone. So when you're in a corporation, you want to look at an enterprise license. And the reason for that, regardless of which language model that you use, the reason for that is you want to keep your data private. So think about a private instance like in a cloud model, and this is also very similar. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about some of the benefits and some of the things that you can do. So let's say, for instance, you have a snippet of code and you really want to figure out how to debug it. Within a matter of seconds, you put in the code and you get the answer. And this is why you want a private instance, right? Because if you're going to put in proprietary information about your company, you really want to make sure that it's protected. It's also important to look, like, let's say, a marketing application. So the input that you'd need is all your products, all your services, your competitive differentiation, kind of like your secret sauce. And then you can put this into a request, like write a blog post or write marketing content or sales content. And you can do that. And what you get is a really great overview. And it may not be the thing that you end up using long term. What's really great is it gets you something to really start really quickly. Let's say in finance, and you have an F1 document, and F1 documents are typically used, let's say, when you're going to do an IPO, and maybe you want to summarize that. Maybe if you're in finance, numbers are your thing and writing isn't. So very quickly, the large language models can analyze this and be able to give you a really nice description. And HR applications are really amazing. HR gets asked all the time, all kinds of questions about benefits. Imagine that if you could have a bot, you input all your HR benefits, all the things that are your typical questions, and imagine a bot that could answer that very quickly and easily for all your employees. I want to talk a little bit about prompt engineering. And prompt engineering to me is really like if you had an assistant, how would you interact with that assistant to get the output that you really want? Let's say you're creating sales or marketing materials. So let's look at what I did here was I created an imaginary business. And the more exact that you can be with these models, the easier and the more specific information that you'll get out. So here I'm saying I'm an online business coach, and I teach busy moms starting a new online business how to leverage the power of virtual training programs so that they can grow their business. Can you please describe the psychographics and demographics of my ideal clients? So with that prompt, now gives you an amazing output of demographics and psychographics. Now, the second hack that I'm going to show you here, so let's say, okay, we have that information about our ideal client. The next thing is, so now I want to know what are their pain points, because when I'm interacting with them, whether I'm talking to them in a sales situation or I'm creating sales or marketing materials, I really want to make sure that I truly understand what they're worried about. So based on that information, the next thing I would ask ChatGPT is, what do you think their pain points and challenges are related to achieving their results and both professionally and personally? And the hack here is to ask ChatGPT to provide both obvious and non-obvious answers. So what's really fascinating when you do that, so obvious challenges could be something like time management, right? And the non-obvious challenges would be things like overcoming imposter syndrome or decision fatigue or maintaining consistency and momentum. And then another interesting hack is to ask it to provide it in a more visceral way. And what you see here is something like time management is now rephrased as the juggling act. And as a marketer, that might be the phrase that you want to use. The last thing now that you might want to ask your chatbot is, okay, so I know a profile of my ideal client, I know some of the pain points, and I can relate to them in everyday language. Now tell me about their desired outcomes, because I want to be able to say, if you buy our products and services, this is what you're going to get from us. And again, here, the hack is to use the obvious and non-obvious answers. So what's really interesting here is that you see like a range of things that you typically think about, and then the non-obvious give you an added dimension. So it's really important, I think, that you pick a chatbot or two. Different large language models are tuned to and trained to do different things. So I highly suggest that you try a couple different ones, and depending on your particular area of business and the things that you want to get, I think you'll really find it fascinating. And I think I'm not a developer, right? So I think what was fascinating for me is to see the user interface and how easy it's been to be able to take advantage of large language models. All right, so if some of the things that I've talked about seem appealing to you, you might be asking yourself, how do I become an empathetic AI leader? And I think there are really three simple steps. The first one is to actively listen. And this can be really hard because as a leader, sometimes you think that you know the answer and you want to be the first one in the room to speak. So the key here is to actively listen so that you can hear other people's feedback, your employees and your customers. And there's something that we talk about in programming, which is the idea of when you want to debug something, and it's asking why like 100 times so that you really get at that root cause. And so you can say something very simply like, tell me more about that. And then integrate that feedback into your decisions, into the choices that you make. And it's really simple, but it's sometimes changing behavior that's really, really key. And it's going to help you take that AI technology and make your business incredibly successful. So I'll leave you with a few thoughts. I believe that the next wave of innovation is going to come from the application of generative AI, predictive AI, conversational AI, and quantum computing. And truly, we can imbue technology with our hopes and dreams. I believe that we just have to know what we're optimizing for and why. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that, Dr. Natalie. And while you were speaking, I gave everybody a huge bonus. I gave everybody an entire copy of your book.
Oh, thank you, Gerald. I
So
really super appreciate that.
I've uploaded it in the chat. As a matter of fact, I'm going to do it again right now because the chat is like it's on fire. So right now, I have officially uploaded Empathy in Action, and you'll see the PDF. So thank you so much for what you shared, and we look forward to having you respond to people's comments in the chat and check the Q&A. There are 22 comments in the Q&A, so I think some people left some messages for you as well.
Thank you. Thank you all so much.
And we are making very good progress with today's summit. I am pleased to let you know that we are ready for a real dynamo. We've got another speaker. The sixth and final speaker from today's summit is Martez Knox from BakerBot, How AI is Redefining Cannabis. And as you see the list of speakers on the screen, one thing I invite you to think about is whether or not you know people that would be keynote speakers for future summits as well. I sent you all an email yesterday, you might have got it, suggesting you let me know if you know of speakers. We're looking for some of the best and most talented we can find. We have a curation committee that brings people together. And with that, I'd like to introduce you to Martez, who's going to share some wisdom in 15 minutes or less. Go ahead.
Okay.
Okay, are we good to go, Zero?
Yes, we are. Go ahead.
Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. Apologies, everyone. The year is 1981. The city is infested with the devil's lettuce, colloquially known as pot or reefer. This era in American life, marked by the fervor of Reaganomics and a relentless war on drugs, casts a complex narrative over cannabis. Against this tumultuous backdrop, 38% of Americans dare to explore cannabis, navigating the uncertain waters of legality and societal acceptance. This period becomes a pivotal chapter in the ongoing saga of cannabis in America, highlighting the resilience of curiosity and the enduring quest for personal freedoms amidst a tumultuous socio-political landscape. But rewind the clock a bit further, and early American settlers were cultivating hemp for its durable fibers in the early 1600s, using it to make ropes, sails, and clothing. The Declaration of Independence itself was written on hemp paper, underscoring its significance. Beyond its practical uses, cannabis found medicinal use in tinctures and remedies throughout the 19th century. The plant's history extends beyond America. In ancient times, the Scythians utilized it in steam baths for visionary purposes. In India, it was consumed during religious festivals for spiritual communion, indicating its global and multifaceted role throughout history. In the 1950s, the dawn of the digital age beckoned. The Dartmouth Conference ignited AI spark, and the perceptron in 1958 pioneered machine learning algorithms. Cannabis, however, navigated a tumultuous waters. Embroiled in legal and societal storms, this era, a vivid dichotomy, saw AI as a beacon of progress, while cannabis became a symbol of defiance. Americans challenging the Box Act of '51 showcased a collective spirit of rebellion. Together, these narratives weave a tale of innovation intertwined with dissent, marking a mid-century where technological leaps and societal pushbacks melded into the fabric of America. It's now 2024, and I'm Martez Knox, one of the founders behind Baked by AI. Together with pioneers like Batchfinder and Skytray, we're at the forefront of a new era in the cannabis industry. Our mission? To personalize your cannabis experience. With Baked by AI's technology, we're turning every cannabis encounter into a custom tailored journey, using AI to match strains with your unique tastes. This approach not only caters to your specific desires, but also elevates the overall enjoyment and satisfaction derived from cannabis, setting a new standard for personalization in the industry. Gone are the days of mere hope in the cannabis cultivation and manufacturing industry. Today, applied AI systems are transforming these realms into precise genetic artistry. Leading this revolution are companies like Phylos Bioscience and Dopamine Life Sciences. They leverage machine learning to unlock the secrets within cannabis DNA. Their work optimizes strains for medical efficacy and rich flavor profiles, engineering plants with specific cannabinoid and terpene compositions. These advancements allow for thriving cultivation in a variety of climates and mark significant progress towards sustainability goals, heralding a new era of precision and possibility in cannabis development. In the cannabis industry, AI is not just advancing cultivation, but revolutionizing quality assurance. With precision, AI employs machine learning and advanced imaging to ensure every product meets the highest standards of purity and safety. This transformative approach elevates consistency and consumer trust, offering unparalleled insights into the journey from seed to sale. As AI sets new benchmarks, it guarantees that each cannabis experience is not only safe, but aligned perfectly with expectations. This is the future of cannabis, where technology and transparency harmonize to redefine excellence. Cannabis disease detection is undergoing a paradigm shift, and AI-driven spectral images is taking the lead. This advanced technology replaces inefficient traditional scouting methods, offering early detection of plant diseases often unseen by the human eye. This innovation heralds a new era in cultivation, combining AI with time-honored farming practices to create a sustainable, productive ecosystem. Early disease detection minimizes human intervention, reduces waste, and ensures crops flourish. This transformation not only signifies a leap in agricultural techniques, but redefines cannabis cultivation for the modern era, This promises healthier crops and optimal resource use. Supply chain enhancements via AI are revolutionizing the entire industry, infusing efficiency and predictive foresight into its core framework. By integrating AI with transaction monitoring and retail operation, the sector achieves unparalleled transparency and control. Financial technology innovations such as real-time transaction monitoring extend beyond mere transactional efficiency. It's about building a resilient, responsive supply chain infrastructure, capable of anticipating market shifts, regulatory changes, and evolving consumer preferences, ensuring the industry's future success. Navigating the complex regulatory maze of cannabis compliance, AI stands as a guiding light, offering with tools to predict demand spikes and understand consumer preferences based on 1 billion individualized data points, operators can make smarter inventory and staffing decisions. These AI-driven insights are so advanced, the supply chain is not only hyper-efficient, but allows growing businesses to achieve sustainability commitments while boosting their bottom line. This level of optimization not only increases profitability, but also supports the industry's commitment to environmental stewardship and customer satisfaction. In a dynamic world of cannabis, companies like BaitBot.ai are helping to reshape the consumer marketing and engagement experience, turning data into personalized experiences, while platforms developed by Jointly and Springbig utilize AI to analyze consumer behavior, feedback, and preferences, enabling brands to predict trends and tailor their offerings to individual needs. This approach doesn't just follow market movements, it anticipates them, ensuring consumers are presented with products that resonate on a more personal level. It's a shift from a one-size-fits-all strategy to a more nuanced, personalized journey, where AI-driven insights from entities like New Frontier Data and Cannabis Media are not merely reactive, but predictive. As the industry continues to evolve, LLM chatbots are revolutionizing the way businesses interact with consumers. These digital assistants are on the front lines, providing personalized advice, product recommendations, and customer service around the clock. No longer is a new consumer or the kind of curious forced to ask their pothead nephew for advice or the best gummy to help with sleep. They can now engage with a friendly chatbot, seated with the knowledge of conscious and wellness. In this new landscape, your cannabis inquiries are met with instant, informed responses, tailored to your preferences and needs. Moving beyond chatbots, we have autonomous agents embedded in our daily lives and providing bespoke cannabis experience. These agents are more than just digital assistants. They're your gateway to tailored wellness. Analyzing your habits, they identify and recommend the ideal strains and dosages for your lifestyle. It's a step beyond service. It's AI crafting your own unique cannabis journey. This is smart consumption, where every recommendation is a step towards personal wellness, intuitively aligned with your life's rhythm. Your cannabis agent effortlessly locates and places your cannabis order for pickup on your ride home, and you didn't have to lift a finger. AI is unlocking cannabis's true potential in research. It rapidly scans complex data sets that would take humans years to analyze. This reveals valuable insights faster. AI models can then engineer specialized strains. They optimize plant compounds to create desired experiences. It also predicts how formulations will perform in the body. This exponentially accelerates discovery and product development. Diseases can be matched to compound solutions. New derivatives are synthesized. AI doesn't just speed innovation, it makes the impossible possible. The future of cannabis relies on this technology revolutionizing what we know and create from nature's miracle plant. As AI propels R&D in cannabis, it tailors consumption to fit seamlessly into our daily routines. Imagine companies like the Jam Up crafting personalized cannabinoid-infused meal plans. Your day might start with a THCV-enriched coffee for an energy kick, a lunch salad drizzled with CBD oil for calm, and CBN gummies before bed for a deep, more restorative sleep, all without melatonin. This vision of everyday wellness, powered by AI, introduces a future where cannabis components enhance our health and happiness in a truly customized fashion, opening new horizons in personal wellness. Let's step into the future of cannabis retail with AI and VR. Companies like Portal 42 and Huxley are at the forefront, creating immersive shopping experiences that redefine convenience. With VR headsets, explore virtual dispensaries personalized by AI, diving into details with augmented reality. Touch, feel, and learn before you buy. This isn't just shopping. This is a comprehensive educational journey, ideal for medical patients, the curious, and especially transformative for disabled individuals, offering access and insights previously out of reach. The future is now, making cannabis accessible, engaging, and deeply informative. Witness the revolution where technology enhances our daily cannabis experience, breaking barriers and opening up new possibilities. As we harness AI to revolutionize the cannabis industry, it's crucial to navigate the ethical landscape with care. AI's role in consumer marketing, cultivation, and supply chain management offers unprecedented efficiency and personalization. However, this innovation also brings forth significant ethical consideration. Privacy concerns arise as consumer data fuels AI's algorithms, demanding stringent safeguards. Moreover, AI's impact on employment within the cannabis industry requires thoughtful examination to ensure technological advancements don't overshadow human contributions. As we stride into this new era, we have to balance innovation with ethical responsibilities, and this is paramount. We want to ensure that AI serves as a force of positive transformation in cannabis. So let's look ahead. It's now 2030. AI has seamlessly blended into every aspect of cannabis operations and personal consumption. Here, AI understands your mood and health needs through smart wearables, recommending and ordering personalized cannabis products with precision. Your thoughts, monitored by advanced neural interfaces like Neuralink, summon the perfect strain for relaxation or creativity, delivered by drones right to your doorstep. AI in cannabis production has evolved to create hyper-optimized environments where plants grow perfectly under robotic care. This boundary between technology and organic growth blurs as AI-assisted breeding develops strains with tailored cannabinoid profiles for individual health outcomes. Skip forward to 2040. AI now orchestrates entire ecosystems of vertical farms and urban landscapes, making cannabis an integral, sustainable part of our daily life. Virtual reality cannabis lounges offer communal or solitary experiences where AI curates not just journeys, but a selection of strange sensory environments as well, enhancing the effects with precision engineered soundscapes, visuals, and aromas. Legal frameworks have evolved, guided by AI's predictive modeling to ensure ethical use and equitable access. Cannabis education, powered by AI, is now embedded in daily life, promoting understanding and dismantling decades of stigma. The industry is a pinnacle of sustainability and social responsibility. So it's 2050, and there's only one question. AI in cannabis represents the zenith of symbiosis between technology and nature. AI-driven nanotechnology now allows for on-demand cannabinoid synthesis within the body, controlled through thought-activated biointerfaces. Cannabis cultivation has transcended Earth, with off-planet firms under AI stewardship, ensuring humanity's access to therapeutic plants in space. But there is still this one question. Now that AI has reached sentience, should it have all the same rights and freedoms as humans? The world is predictably divided. However, the cannabis community is overwhelmingly in support. Thank you, guys. That would be the end. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Oh.
Jared, we can't hear you.
Now that microphone is working. So thank you, Martez. That was an excellent presentation and a nice way to wrap things up. We have had a great round of speakers today, 6 different people, and I commend all of you for staying with us this long. We still got a lot of people on YouTube and a lot of people on Zoom that are still with us and have been with us for all the different speakers. And I want to give a shout out and say thank you, Carol. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Charles. Thank you, Pan. Thank you, Natalie. And thank you, Martez, for sharing your wisdom today. If any of you know of other people that have great content to share, put them in touch with me. Connect with me on LinkedIn and let me know, and we can chat about different opportunities. As you may recall, we have these on the 3rd Thursday of every month. They're 3 hours long, followed by speed networking. And so now we are ready on our agenda for speed networking on Zoom for the final 45 minutes. Now, in order to do it in small groups, we actually need to switch from Zoom webinar, where we've got a platform for thousands of people, and we want to switch to Zoom meetings where we can go into small groups. So everybody needs to go to networkonzoom.com. And on networkonzoom.com, it's a quick 2-button registration. We will take about a 5-minute break right now, and we're going to start up with speed networking on Network on Zoom. I want to again thank all the presenters. And if you want to put your LinkedIn URL to connect with you in the chat, go ahead and do that now. The chat's pretty long, so those of you that have stayed with us this long, you might want to copy and paste the chat into another document so you have everybody's information as well. But I want to thank Robert Sababadi with Online Interpreters Worldwide, who's been the producer of this event and has had it run nice and smoothly. And if you ever need any Zoom production work, I can put you in touch with the right company in which to do that. So thank you for all of your time, and keep active on LinkedIn. We've got 1 million members on LinkedIn and the ArtificialIntelligence-Innovators.org. And if you post things there, let me know. We can feature them and spread the word. It's your community, and I invite you to make the most of it as well. So thank you again, and goodbye. And remember, networkonzoom.com. We will see you there in just a couple minutes. Bye-bye.